In this video, we will do a quick tour of the Avian Genetic Calculator software to show you some of the features and do a couple of examples of how to work out what progeny you can get from various pairs of birds. Firstly, we click on File, then Open. In this case, we'll use an example of budgerigar, so we click on that and then click on OK. This opens the mating window for a pair of budgerigars. At the bottom of the window are 2 lines of description for the cock parent bird in a pair and 2 lines of description for a hen parent bird. The first line of the 2 lines shows the varieties which are normally visible. The second line shows the recessive or hidden varieties in the bird. These are usually called the split varieties. The slash symbol in front of this line means split. When you first open this window, it is already set up with a pair of wild type birds. In the case of budgerigars, the wild bird is a light green, so the cock bird has light green in the first line of the description because light green is visible, and the second line is blank because it is not split for any other varieties. The hen is set up the same. To calculate what you can get from this pair of light greens, you go to the top and say File, then Calculate, click on OK, and then you get the answer on a report. We'll just zoom this out so you can read it a bit easier. So from this pair of light greens, we can get 50% light green hens and 50% light green cocks. Along the top of the screen there are buttons where you can print this report to a printer, or you can zoom the report on the screen in and out to make it easier to read. This is a fairly simple mating, so I'll close this one down. To change the variety of the parents, we use the male and female menus. So I'll click on Male. In this menu is a list of all the variety groups that a male budgerigar can have. The list will be different if you have a different species of bird, like say Indian ringneck, etc. It's possible to have all sorts of weird and wonderful combinations of all these variety groupings. In fact, in budgerigars, as an example, there are millions of visually different variety combinations. If you could include all the possible recessive split combinations as well, there are actually billions of possible genetic combinations. With so many possible combinations, it's not practical to list every possible combination in one great big long list. But Avian Genetic Calculator can handle every one of these billions of combinations, and the way it is done is easy to use. All combinations are broken up into building blocks, and each building block is listed in the male and female menu lists. You build up the description of each parent one block at a time till you get the full description of what you want, whether it is simple, like the light green we started with, or a more involved combination of varieties. Let's do a more complex example. Let's pick, say, a light green opaline cinnamon cockbird, which is also split for blue and Danish recessive pied. So looking at our list of building blocks, we click on Male. We know our bird's got green and blue in it because it's green split blue, so we select green, blue, yellow face. Then we have a list of all the possible combinations of green, blue, dark factor, and all the different yellow faces are in this list. Normally when you look at this list, the simple common combinations are at the top of the list, and the more complex combinations are towards the bottom of the list. In this particular case, we want to select light green split for blue, so we highlight that and then press Select and Done, which takes us back to our original mating window, and you'll notice now the cockbird is visually light green and is now split for blue. Our next little building block we want to look at is for opaline and cinnamon. So we click on Male again. We come down and there's a list there called opaline, cinnamon, Eno, Texas clear body and slate. So we open that window and we look for opaline and cinnamon on the list. Select and Done, and now the description has changed to a light green opaline cinnamon split for blue. And lastly, we want to look at the Danish recessive pied part of it. So we go to the list, click on Danish recessive pied, and we want a bird that is split for Danish recessive pied, so we select normal split Danish recessive pied. Now in this particular window, and many like it, wherever you see the term normal, it means the bird is visually normal or like the wild type bird with respect to this particular group of varieties only. It can still have other varieties like opaline and cinnamon, etc. So it's only normal with respect to Danish recessive pied. So we select the split bird, select done, and you'll see the full description of the cockbird there now. He's a light green opaline cinnamon. And on the second line, he's also split for Danish recessive pied. We'll now change the hen bird to something else. Let's make her a light green split blue. So we go to light green split blue, select done, and now that has been done. Now we can calculate what we get from that pair of birds by going File, then Calculate. We'll accept the defaults for the time being, press OK. You can see the report in the background and zoom it out to read it. So from this pair of birds, the cockbird, we've got a light green cinnamon opaline, which is also split for blue and Danish recessive pied. The hen is a light green split for blue, and this is the different progeny you get from it. You get 12 different types of progeny. Now when you're reading these lists, everything to the right hand side of the slash symbol are the split or hidden recessive traits of the bird. So for instance, on the third line here, we're looking at 12.5% light green opaline cinnamons, which are split for blue and split for Danish recessive pied, and they are hens. If you want to change the description of a bird, then you simply go back to the menus and add or subtract the various building blocks. So if we go back here, let's say that the cockbird wasn't split for Danish recessive pied at all. So we can change that by clicking on Male, go down to the Danish recessive pied menu, and you'll notice that there's ticks on the menus there to say which ones you've previously selected. So we don't want normal split Danish recessive pied. We want to get rid of that, so we'll just make him normal as far as recessive pied is concerned. We go back, and if you look at this bottom line here, it's now gone. So that bird is no longer split for recessive pied. That's a quick run through some typical matings to build a description of the parents and calculate offspring with Avian Genetic Calculator.